Every year, a captivating aerial ballet takes place along the California coast, from Stinson Beach above the San Francisco Bay in the north, south to Baja California. Floating softly on the wind like 1,000 golden flowers, the beautiful monarch butterflies return each year to spend the winter clustered in the trees that grow along our coastline, enjoying our moderate coastal climate. Like delicate works of art on the wing, butterflies have fascinated artists, poets, and people of all walks of life for countless centuries. Butterflies, not quite birds, as they were not quite flowers, mysterious and fascinating, as are all indeterminate creatures. We use the word butterfly to describe many different things, from the butterfly chair in design, to the butterfly stroke in swimming, to a butterfly hinge in carpentry, for instance. The word butterfly itself can mean far more than just the brightly colored flying insect. We call people who are vain, shallow, and primarily interested in frivolous pleasure social butterflies. Perhaps because of the way in which butterflies flutter without apparent direction or purpose. As has been written, the butterfly's attractiveness derives not only from colors and symmetry, deeper motives contribute to it. We would not think them so beautiful if they did not fly, or if they flew straight and briskly like bees, or if they stung, or above all, if they did not enact the perturbing mystery of metamorphosis. The latter assumes in our eyes the value of a symbol, a sign. Butterflies attract us emotionally as well. When we are excited or nervous, we often say that we have butterflies in our stomach. The ancient Greeks believed that the butterfly was the embodiment of the human soul. A butterfly's movement seems at once impulsive, yet effortless and perfectly natural, as if it could change direction as easily as we change thoughts. As Hemingway wrote, his talent was as natural as the pattern that was made by the dust on a butterfly's wings. At one time he understood it no more than the butterfly did, and he did not know it when it was brushed or marred. Later, he became conscious of his damaged wings and of their construction, and he learned to think and could not fly anymore because the love of flight was gone, and he could only remember when it had been effortless. Their movements appear as nothing more than random moments strung together as if by a child, without apparent cause or purpose. Only the moment matters. How else indeed to clap the net over the butterfly of the moment? For the moment passes, it is forgotten, the mood is gone, life itself is gone. That is where the writer catches the changes of his mind on the hop. Butterflies in captured collections are truly still life. Without movement, they lose their magic and their majesty. The sight of one butterfly on the wing fills us with a sense of wonderment. But the sight of thousands of monarch butterflies arriving in October from the north is an experience unlike any other in the world. The wonder of migration is nothing new in the animal kingdom, but the monarch story is truly unique. The annual migration of the monarch butterflies is the longest animal migration in North America. But But just as fascinating is the fact that the butterflies who journey to our shores every year are several generations removed from last year's visitors. They are their great-great-grandchildren. With no one to point the way, no place of birth to be remembered, the monarch butterflies reenact a pilgrimage that their ancestors undertook up to 4 generations before. No one knows how the butterflies know to return to the same groves of Monterey pine and eucalyptus that grow in Pacific Grove. From the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada, they fly hundreds of miles to return again and again, year after year, to the California coast, from north of San Francisco to the Mexican border. But nowhere do they receive a warmer and more heartfelt welcome than in the city of Pacific Grove on the Monterey Peninsula, affectionately known as Butterfly Town, USA. As John Steinbeck wrote, Pacific Grove benefits by one of those happy accidents of nature that gladden the heart, excite the imagination, and instruct the young. On a certain day in the shouting springtime, great clouds of orangey monarch butterflies, like twinkling airy fields of flowers, sail high in the air on a majestic pilgrimage across Monterey Bay and land in the outskirts of Pacific Grove in the pine woods. The city flag of Pacific Grove features a monarch butterfly. The city proudly displays statues that celebrate the annual event. Many gardens around the city are identified as having been planted with flowers specifically to attract butterflies. City streets are named for them. Butterfly decorations adorn private and public buildings and homes alike. The city makes every effort to ensure the continued visitation of their golden ambassadors of beauty and aerial delight. A municipal ordinance even makes molesting a butterfly in any way a misdemeanor punishable by a fine of up to $1,000. A butterfly sanctuary has been established by the city in a grove of eucalyptus trees and Monterey pines where Lighthouse Avenue meets Ridge Road. Covering nearly 2.5 acres, this serene setting provides a protected microclimate well suited for the monarch butterflies. Visitors to the sanctuary are welcomed by a paved pathway and viewing platform from which they can stand in awe of the thousands of shimmering wings which descend upon the grove the first 2 weeks in October. Wheelchair access is provided at Ridge Road. Local volunteers and community organizations have made a significant contribution to the Monarch Grove Sanctuary. Their efforts in planting and caring for seedlings, flowers, and shrubs in and around the habitat areas provide essential sources of food for the monarch butterflies. But while the monarch butterflies may dine from a choice of nectar-producing flowers, as caterpillars they feed only on milkweed. Milkweed that grows from California's San Joaquin Valley north to the Pacific Northwest and Canada. In fact, another name for monarch butterfly is milkweed butterfly. The monarch butterflies are the final phase of the insect's life. A life that begins as an egg laid on the milkweed plants many miles inland from Pacific Grove. A single monarch butterfly can lay as many as 500 eggs before she dies. Each egg is laid on a single leaf of the milkweed plant, to ensure enough food for each emerging caterpillar. And the caterpillars eat only milkweed. By some coincidence of nature, the food that feeds the monarch caterpillars is poisonous to the predators that would prey upon them. And this acquired protection lasts through every stage of their lives, caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly. After only about 10 days, the caterpillar becomes a chrysalis. In another 10 to 12 days, it will emerge to become a beautiful monarch butterfly. Coming out of the chrysalis, the new butterfly is soft, and its wings must be stretched and strengthened with fluid from its abdomen. For 2 to 3 hours, the new butterfly readies itself for life on the wing. The next stage of the butterfly's life will take it north from Central California several hundred miles, where the cycle will repeat itself. The butterfly will mate and the eggs again will be laid on milkweed. The lifespan of this generation of monarchs and the next 2 or 3 will only be about 4 to 6 weeks each. Each generation will continue the journey north, with each succeeding generation getting closer and closer to the Pacific Northwest and Canada, to the same fields of milkweed that previous generations of monarchs used in years past. Just as one generation of monarchs revisits the California coast every year, so do other generations of monarchs revisit the interior of the continent in their continuing cycle of migration. Finally, in the middle of August, the last generation of the warm seasons lays its eggs on the milkweed at the northernmost point of its annual migration. The caterpillars that these eggs produce will become the butterflies that fly all the way south to the coast and return once again to the monarch sanctuary in Pacific Grove. This generation will differ in many important ways from the generations that preceded it. First, it will live far longer than its predecessors, where the butterflies that travel north will live only a few weeks' time. The ones that fly south for the winter will live for 7 to 8 months. Second, the butterflies that fly the southern leg of the migratory cycle will not mate until spring. Their parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents mated almost immediately after their emergence as a butterfly. And third, they fly as far to the south as it took the previous 3 generations to fly north. Over distances of up to 100 miles each day, that may total 2,500 miles when they reach their destination, at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, and at altitudes of almost 2 miles high. It's true, pilots have reported seeing swarms of monarch butterflies riding the thermal air currents at 10,000 feet. The butterflies begin arriving at the Monarch Sanctuary in early October, and by Thanksgiving nearly all have arrived. The arrival of the butterflies is celebrated every year with the annual Butterfly Parade. Dressed in butterfly regalia, school children from the town march through the city streets, accompanied by the city school band. Handcrafted costumes abound, complete with bobbing antennae and painted cardboard wings that move in celebration of nature's infinite wonder. The parade celebrates all phases of the butterfly's life. Chrysalides march with caterpillars that wind their way through the crowds of cheering well-wishers. Flowers and bumblebees, creatures of the forest. Even the first residents of the central coast of California, the Native Americans, are honored in the parade as friends of the butterfly. The butterflies, however, seem blissfully oblivious to all the pomp and circumstance surrounding their arrival. Their lives, through December, will be filled with visits to the parks and gardens throughout the Monterey Peninsula in search of nectar, returning in the evenings and gathering in great bunches on the boughs of the trees in the sanctuary. When winter comes, they will become less active to conserve their energy until spring is just around the corner in February. While no one knows why the monarch butterflies migrate, we do know why the environment of California's central coast is favorable for them. Our coastal fog keeps temperatures within the butterflies' tolerance. Any colder, and the butterflies would be unable to fly to find the nectar they need to survive, and they would die in winter. If it were any warmer, their metabolisms would not slow down, and they would not live until spring. The groves of eucalyptus and Monterey pine trees also offer a perfect home for the butterflies while they are here. Of course, the tall trees offer many branches on which the butterflies may rest high off of the ground, but they also calm the breezes that blow in from the ocean and allow the butterflies to move up and down as day turns to night to keep their body temperatures within a comfortable range. Around Valentine's Day in February, with spring fast approaching, the monarch butterflies begin the ritual that will ensure the continuation of their species. They begin to mate. First, the males produce a chemical scent that will entice the female monarchs into a receptive state. This chemical is stored in two small pouches on the male's wings, pouches which do not exist on the female butterfly. Armed with the scent of love, the male butterfly begins to approach the female, who flies upward with the male in a spiraling dance until she is ready to be grasped by the male. Unable to fly in this configuration, both butterflies tumble gently to the ground, where the male must overpower the female to impregnate her with his sperm. In what appears to be a wrestling match between two pieces of stained glass, the female resists with all her might the efforts of the male. In this way, she assures that the father of her offspring is a strong and virulent male, giving her progeny the best possible chance of continuing their gene pool. And there is no assurance that an interloper may not attempt to take advantage of someone else's efforts, but to fight off the other male, he must first release the female, thus creating yet another opportunity for the interloper. Fortunately for the males, they may mate as many as 3 or 4 times, so one rejection is not the end of the world for our brightly colored dandy. And not every attempt is successful. If the female can break free of her suitor's grasp, then she will fly away, leaving a disappointed male behind to reflect upon his lost splendor in the grass. Finally, the male butterfly flips the female over on her back, and from this position, the male and female join their bodies to exchange the fluids that will start the reproductive cycle all over again. While they are joined in this manner, the female ends her struggles, and the male lifts her high into the branches, where they will spend the night entwined within the canopy of the sanctuary. With the rising sun, the butterflies separate, and the female leaves the Monarch Grove sanctuary to find fields of milkweed in which to lay her eggs. Her journey may only be of a few miles to Hollister, or hundreds of miles away to the San Joaquin Valley. Laying only one egg per leaf, it takes a great deal of time and effort to lay 400 to 500 eggs. By the time she is finished, her energy store is nearly exhausted. She has only a few days of life left. Yet she has lived far longer than her parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. She has experienced more of life than all of those generations combined. And at the Monarch Grove Sanctuary in Pacific Grove, she has lived her life in an environment as naturally perfect as the city and its people can make it. And so the people of Pacific Grove bid farewell to this year's swarm of monarch butterflies, content in the knowledge that 4 butterfly generations hence, their trees and gardens will once again be filled with the beauty of sparkling wings dancing in shafts of light in the serenity of the Monarch Grove Sanctuary.